Hello. Hey guys, welcome to Concept and Coding. And today we have Anubhav for the mock interview. Hey Anubhav, welcome.
Hi Shreyans, good
Yeah,
evening.
good evening.
Hi all.
Yeah, so Anubhav, before we start, just in a two-liner, would you like to just introduce yourself so that everybody knows? And after that, we can start with the mock interview.
Hi guys, I'm Anubhav. I am currently working as a backend engineer in Nutanix and I'm working with the Beam team.
Beam team. How many years of experience you have generally?
I have 2 years of
Awesome.
experience.
Cool, cool, cool. Nice, man. Nice to meet you. So, Anubhav, could you please share your screen and so that I can tell you a question? The question is you are given n, let's say you are given an n, let's say n equals to 3 for example. You have to create a spiral matrix out of it. Now if you would be given n equals to 3, which will differ like what would be the n by n matrix, so and you have to create a spiral matrix out of it, 1 2 3, and if you see 4 5 6 7 8 9, so it's a spiral form, right? So that's the simplest
Yeah.
question, like though no explanation much, so that's the only one liner question. Yeah, so it's all yours, so we have around 40 minutes.
Okay. Shreyans, the idea over here is nothing difficult. Like it's more of an implementation question.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that whenever since it's an n cross n matrix, so you start from the left on the top. So you just give your pointer a direction that first you need to go to the left, then down, then first to the right, then down, then left, and then to the top.
Yeah.
And you just keep going it, and you just have to take care of the boundary conditions that you are not violating the boundary conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say that first when you are going to the right, it's fine. But when you are going to the bottom, you have to make sure that you are starting from the second column
Mm-hmm.
and like this. Like basically, you are not starting from the same, so that printing is not done.
Correct. And yeah, can you go ahead for it? And what would be the time complexity for it?
Time since we are visiting each element only once, it would be O of n square, where n is the size of the
Mm-hmm.
each row or column.
Correct, correct. Can you implement this part?
Yeah, should I do it over here only or
Yeah,
some
no, no,
editor?
here itself, Anubhav.
Okay. So let's assume that we have been given an n, ठीक है, and let's say we take it as an input, ठीक है. उसके बाद since we only have to print it, right? So let's take as a direction which is left to right, and from top to bottom. So these values over here, we would be assigning it as zero initially and zero initially, and the possible values over here can be 0 1 1, and here also 0 1 1. So first we are going from left to right, so we so and start would be 0, end would be n minus 1, and call start also we can 0, and call end is also n minus 1. So over here, if so, if left to right, यहाँ पे सकता है. Yeah. So here in that case we will do C out. Matrix size है, ठीक है. उसके बाद once this is done, we'll change left to right to 1 here. उसके बाद So basically, what I've done here is that I will start from the row which is ST, which is the starting row. And if my left to right is 0, that is, which means that I have to go to the right. So I'll start from the column start, which is right now 0, and whichever is the end column, and then start printing it. And once this is done, so my left to right को I'll do it 1. ठीक है, उसके बाद
Sorry.
and
Once you are first from start to end, okay. So okay, the whole rows you are covering first. So now let's say you are at row 1. So if left to right is equals to 0, means for the, let's say, row 1 you have to goes to the right. Okay, now for that right, what you are doing is you are now iterating over a column start to end. Okay, and you are just what you're doing, see out. Like, why you're doing see
yeah,
out?
I'm just printing that element.
No, that's what we don't have to print the element, we have to fill the matrix, like way.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
question,
ठीक
right?
है, मतलब okay, मतलब we can fill it with the this is fine then. So अभी this covers my going from left to right and my going from right to left. ठीक है, अभी I'll do one more thing is that is going from top to bottom and then from bottom to top. I'll cover those cases as well.
Okay, so left to right becomes 0. So okay, you have filled up the first row. Now you make left to right equals to 1 because you have to go now to the left side. That's okay. And in the else part, what you are doing right now?
Else part में I'm covering left to right का that going from right to left. This is I'm covering
Okay.
left to right and right to left.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, let's.
Yeah. I'll just also so when we are going from left to right, you also have to make sure that you are increasing the start row by 1. Then yes, and when you're going from right to left.
Uh, Anubhav, so with this approach which you are currently going, can you just think of little bit optimizing it a bit? There's lot of
Yeah.
for condition, if conditions, like can you try thinking that can we remove this many if, this many for loops? Can you optimize your code a bit?
Matlab, we could do two things here.
Hmm?
First, what I feel is ki instead of giving it two directions, top to bottom and left to right, I could have just used only one pointer, which is going, first from left to right, then top to bottom, and like the same thing is, and we are just using one for like within two loops only, like instead of replicating the same code within two loops only, we are doing the same thing. So basically,
Yeah, it would
what
be
I'm suggesting,
yeah, it would be a good start from making 4 loops to 2 loops.
yeah,
But can that be further optimized?
uh, let's keep a direction variable,
Hmm.
okay,
Good.
and the value of this can be 0, 1, 2, 3 in clockwise manner.
Yeah.
And, um, okay,
Can you think of one? Let's say if you can create two array. Let's say I'm just giving you a hint. Let's say direction of a column and direction of a row, right? So that array would have, let's say, direction of row would be, let's say, first it has to be 0 because it has to be how you are going left to right. So first is
yes,
0, then it has to go bottom, so means
yes,
row is increasing, then second value would be 1, then it has to
yes,
go again 0 because it has to go horizontally, then it has to go
yes,
up, so it would be -1. So these are
yes,
the values of direction of a rows. Similarly, there would be a direction of a column, right? And the variable which you have taken direction, with that itself, can it be done in a single for loop or not, or in a more simplified manner or not? Just, but you are in a right direction. The variable which you have bring out direction, just see that way.
yeah. So in that case, if we um, 0, 1, 2, 0, so
Hmm.
by this I mean is that when we are going from left to right,
Hmm.
my row is not changing, so
Not
0.
correct.
Then going bottom 1, it's increasing. Then again 0, and then -1.
-1. And similarly, the column would get impacted with this, with the
Yeah.
respective.
So 1, 0, -1, 0.
Correct.
Yeah. And if I run this loop from I is equal to 0, I less than plus.
So the int dir equals to which you have given a value, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. So it would be like a index of this x and y, 0, 1, 2, 3. So what direction currently
Yes,
it is? What is x? What is y? Right?
yes. So, yeah. If maybe switch case we can do that.
No, oh, sorry. Why you are putting a switch case?
Uh, so basically, I also wanted to check when to, matlab, when will I change my direction? Like
Okay.
after how many, like when n is equals to 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, now I know that I have filled 1, 2, 3, but
Hmm.
when do I have to go down?
Okay, yeah, that's a valid question. When you should go down? So
Yes.
what were your approach? What you were thinking of putting? Let's before coding, let's discuss when you will go down. What would be the condition?
Yeah. So my condition would be ki when I have filled, let's say ki मतलब whenever that difference I cannot find.
So what is happening as of now? I equals to 0, I less than equals to n into n, and we are continuously moving forward. By currently, let's say direction is 0, so my x is 0, y is 1. So it is moving horizontally. So
Yes.
now it is moving, 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 moving. And when it will take a wrong step, how you would know? What would be the conditions?
मतलब it should be within the boundaries, so it should be less
It
than
should be
n.
within the boundaries, right? So
Yeah.
anytime it reach out the boundaries, right? You it get right. We have to change the direction. And that's
But
one hint.
what about the inner spirals? Inner spirals, maybe we cannot add that same boundary condition, no?
Correct, correct. So can we enhance little bit that condition boundary? So this is
Yeah,
what you
matlab
have.
for that again we have to keep the variables like what's the row B, what's the boundary top row, boundary bottom row, boundary left row, boundary right row.
Okay, can you think of it? But you are in the right direction. That where to all now thing left is how where to change, how to change. If that is done, I think we are almost done.
Yes, makes sense.
So Anubhav, I'm good with it. So
Yeah.
can we stop the screen share? I'll have cool man. So
Yes.
any feedback, like I have minor feedback for you. Like if you have any feedback for me, uh, I would definitely love to hear it. Like where I can improve.
No, you were
Okay,
really a great interviewer.
sure,
No questions there.
sure.
Only thing I was expecting was ki, have you like what I was expecting was a little bit. Matlab, this is more of an implementation question.
Yeah,
That's the confusion which I face sometimes. That the questions are mostly asked on actual data structures and how are you going about them.
do you know
And
this is the question of which company?
this is Microsoft question. It has been asked to me
Yeah, so
once.
it has been asked to it's a and it's not only Microsoft, it's a FB question also. But it's okay,
Okay.
it's do asked a lot. This is a very like kind of frequently asked question. But see,
Okay.
I wanted to give you a little bit time pressure also, right? Because that's how
Okay.
actually an interview would be. Even I told 45 minutes and this, right? But in actual interview,
Yes.
even after 25 minutes, interviewer will keep poking you and you will get little bit stress and all. Right. So see,
Hmm.
today I'll tell you where all things you have to improve first, Anubhav. Please take it as a peer and take it as a constructive feedback. Okay. One
Okay.
thing is you haven't asked me what would be the edge case if n equals to 0. Whether I should return 0, whether I should return minus 1, what you will return if n equals to 0. Right.
Hmm.
So first of all, you haven't discussed the edge cases with me. Right. The second would be you are using lot of हिंदी word ठीक है उसके बाद then अब क्या करें. So this is I'm not sure if this is the mock, that's why you are doing it, or it's a habitual, but at least do not use this in real interview, right? Try
Okay.
to be, if you are using in English, try to be proper, avoid these words,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Another thing is, so question can be understood properly, and mid, let's say this is the very simplest question, and even after implementing it you change it in mid itself. Okay, we don't have to print it, we have to just take a matrix. But what if it's some other questions and if it is not properly understood and you have to change whatever you have thought process done, your time gone already, 10-15 minutes important minutes gone, right? So always double. I asked you in the starting, are you totally clarified with the question, right? So use initial couple of more minutes to see that with the example, take one example, right? Use that example and see, okay, this is what I have to do, right? So use, clarify the questions properly, right? Very very important. Another thing is the clean coding part, you have to work a lot. See, don't use word en, st, ces, cen, hor. Where is the function name? You have not even created a function name, right? Where is the function? Later on you can go and check your code. What is the method name? You have not created a method itself, right? So you have to write like you are writing in a production based ready code for a company, right?
Okay.
So this really matters a lot, man. This really matters a lot, right? First of all, also I want to say that try to visualize thing from a diagram perspective. You can use certain examples. Okay, what if n equals to 2 or n equals to 3? You're trying to find out a edge case, like okay, when I have to change, right? So you can use diagram. Okay, 1 I have written, okay, I have 2, I have 3. Now it will go ahead. Okay, so I have to stop whenever it crosses the boundary. Okay, so let it go like this. So at least one circle you will complete. Now the part which you are facing an issue, like how a inner circle will get filled up, when it will go. So it's just like, okay, if the value is also filled up, so now just see that okay, the circle is filled up and now it is already trying to go to already filled up, then also it has to change the direction, right? So it is that
Yes.
part which you can easily get the answer by visualizing with an example, kind of a dry running, right? And that's very important. Another improvement I want you to is, while you code, right, even nobody is listening, please speak out. There is a lot of silent in this video, you will see, right? So
Okay.
see, when you code, right, you don't want any input from interviewer, you don't want to explain anything, you will just speak out loud. Okay, I'm taking left to right, it will move from left to right direction. Just whatever you are thinking in your mind, right, just try, get a habit of bringing those words to your mouth also, right?
Okay.
Lot of silence in an interview is always not good, because you will lose an opportunity of many hints from the interviewer, right? And interviewers sometimes get follow-up questions based upon the way you are thinking only, right? They not properly in prepare for it. The way you are going, they might help you give a good direction, give you a hint, or they sometimes try to come up, okay, change little bit, go diversion based upon the engagement. But if there is no engagement, there is a very less scope for you can say that conversation between us. The less conversation in interview is not good. The more the conversation, the better, right?
Yes. Makes sense.
So that's 7 points which I want you to improvement, right? So I know you are a good coder, but there are certain things which I want you to improve. It might help you in very time pressure based interviews. So this question looks very easy, right?
Yeah.
But actual when we are about to implement, right, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
And see,
Yes,
you,
yes.
and one more thing, the code which you have written, the first, for, if, like lot thing, that I think it's more like a brute force for this question, because time complexity is O of n square, but this is what you have implemented, it's a brute force, right?
Mhm.
And we always say that never ever code for the brute force, right? So you have to first see that how, what would be the best way to implement, discuss that one, right? If you written that for loop, if condition, let's say if you have utilized 25 minutes in that, that would not be even approved, I can say that, because that is more like not a good way, and nobody can identify a bug, boolean, for loops, if conditions and all these things. So you should be discussed, okay, I will use for loop, this is kind of a brute force, but now I'm thinking how can I reduce those if condition for loop, what would be the better way, right? So
Makes
always
sense.
don't code for brute force, always try to find an optimized code. Optimized can be in time complexity, space complexity, or the way we are coding, right?
Mhm.
I hope, please take
Yes.
this in a constructive manner, man. Like I am also learning,
Yeah.
so this is all, as an engineer we both can help each other.
Yes,
So
yes.
take in a
Complete.
constructive manner,
Yeah.
man.
Completely makes sense. Yeah.
Cool. So that's pretty
Yeah.
much from my side. I hope it will help you in future. And thank you for
Sure.
the mock interview, man. I'm stopping the
Sure.
recording.